Good morning. I see that Mark is here. Thank you for being here today. I didn't see, oops, let me just get this all put up correctly here so we can begin. Good morning. So I got out my old ceramic wheel. I can't even remember what I used to call this thing. This has been around for a million years. It's an old Amico potter's decorating wheel. And I wanted to raise this up a little so that I could work on it more without getting a sore neck. So I have been working on just slimming down the legs, and I'm going to try without blowing this out to show you. And I'm going to get close up now. Oh, before I do get close up, I was going to add a little more to this base, like just to bring it up a little bit. So I haven't done that yet, but I needed more clay, and everybody always asks, what kind of clay do I use? There's so many different kinds that are great. Oil-based clay. Frank and Jackie, good morning. So many kinds, but I love this clayette. It's the hard styling clay. They have soft, medium, and hard. I like the whiteness of it, the lightness of it, because it just helps when you're looking at things. I mean, and we started with porcelain, so the lighter clay is so great. And that they didn't have this light clay back in the day. They only had this red clay that the car dealers would make, not dealers, the manufacturers would make cars, full-size model cars with. That's how they became famous as clay makers, Chavant Company. But they didn't have this light, and we always wished there was a light clay. And there were other brands, but they were so soft and sticky. This is perfect. So anyway, I'm going to bring this back. Oh, where I was going with this is I got this block of clay just like that. And this is what it looks like. I cut it all up this morning and put it on my tray where I heat my clay up on this plate warmer that I got from Amazon. It's got several settings, and it's, it doesn't burn you. I mean, you can put your hand on that. So I love that. It keeps my clay just warm enough that I can work with it really easily. But let's switch to the other view, because today I want to show you, oops, that's the wrong view. Let's see, there's the right view. Okay, and I'll get this. I wanted to put this stalking wolf up here, if I can get him separately. I cannot seem to grab him right now. There we go. And I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to show what we had started with originally. Let me get myself out of the picture. And I'm kind of feeling like we're getting, not exactly that, but sort of along that line, closer than we thought we would, which is good. So as you can see, it's very rough, but the general shapes are in there. The thinning out of I didn't want to thin them out too much. I also put another support right here. And the reason I just added that because as I'm working on this, I might be heating it a little with a heat gun and getting it soft. I just didn't want any chance it could collapse in the front. So of course that wouldn't be in there in the final sculpture. Let me get this picture off the screen now, because I just wanted to go back to our original idea just to show you where we had come from. And it's kind of like, okay, where we are now. I'm pretty happy with the result. Let me just get this view fixed up for us. I keep seeing a line there, and I want to get rid of that line. I don't know if I can do that. Let's put this back. There we go. Maybe like that. Okay, so now I'm ready to work. And what I'm going to do today is I want to start. I've measured the proportions. I've checked them again. I'm pretty happy. Everything isn't perfect, but also these reference pictures are not 100% perfect either. I don't have exactly this pose at this stance, so I have to improvise to some degree. So, for example, I would take, let's see, the paw to the shoulder, and I'm pretty much there. I would take the length of the face. Let me do it where you can see it, to the back of the ear, and I'm pretty much there. as you can see. So this has been invaluable, even though these pictures aren't perfect. They give you a basis. They give you something you can work with. Because if you're just looking, and let me go back to the other view for a moment, because I'm going to show you what I mean. If you're just looking at images, you're bound to get something wrong, like the head might be too big, very, very common, or some other facet to the proportions won't be right. So your reference plan or pictures are really, really critical to doing this right. And like I said, maybe your reference pictures are wrong, and it'll look more like your reference pictures and not exactly like the animal. Ideally, you just want to be able to go and take pictures of the animal from all directions from the same distance, if you can do that. Other ways to practice are to get a sculpture that's already made, maybe even something very simple, and use your measuring tools and just go through and try to duplicate something and just go through the practice of doing that. I was thinking about doing that here. It might be something we'll do in the future where I'll take a simple sculpture and we'll reproduce it by using our measuring tools as we go, instead of a plan like that. So you have that way to do it too if you want to. So I'm going to just get started. What I'm going to do today, I've got so much of the proportions done, but it's very, very rough on the surface, including the face. I haven't done the refinement of the face, and we have just a few more sessions to finish this off. So let me go back to the other view. Whoops, I'm getting lost here. I did try to set up my new camera, but it takes programming, it's so cool, and it will follow like my hands. I'll say little commands and it will go back to my face. So when I have that set up, it'll be great, but it's taking much longer for me to get that programming done. I just don't have the time in between things I'm doing. So, all right, let's start with just heating up the surface. I got my heat gun. Let me show what I'm using. I'm just going to warm up the surface here. You've got to be careful not to put your hand right in front of that heat gun sometimes. It's a lot hotter than a hair dryer. But now I can just start to just smooth out some of those bumps and lumps that I have all over it. And I don't want to go too hard because I don't want to accidentally push down these legs. I mean, they're still delicate. Even though they have armature in them, they're still just pieces of clay. So it's holding up the whole thing. So I'm just going to go through and soften with my hands at first. Just soften it up so there's no little bumps of clay, which are really like little beads all over it in a way. Because the next thing I'm going to do is just try to put the pattern, the direction of the hair, the fur. I'm going to use these diagrams that I made that show the direction of the fur, especially like that one. That one's good. See how the direction moves. And I'm going to use, let's see, the tool I'm going to use is just to create a pattern of the fur direction. And then we're going to heat it and use the brush the way I did in the Bobcat. I'm trying to find the right tool. Here's one. So one like this with a little ball end. I also have a larger ball end tool somewhere in here. But that's going to be the general idea, and you'll see that. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing. And we're going to go all around and smooth it out. Let's see how fast I can do it before it gets hard again. You know, and people who work in bronze, I mean, there's a lot of people who work right in wax, because wax is a part of the bronze making process. The wax gets melted out of a ceramic mold around it that doesn't get melted when the wax drains out. So this is kind of similar in that you have to work with it in a warmed up state. Like when they work with wax, they usually have a hot, I don't want to say a candle, but a lamp or something that heats it as they work. But then it holds its shape. That's the great thing. The wax, like this clay, will hold its shape. As you can see, I'm just smoothing out that area. And I'm looking at my pictures. I'm also looking at where you can't see. Let's go back to the other view for a minute. I brought up these other pictures, not pictures, but a video, and it shows the side of the wolf. Now you can see them moving slightly because I have it on slow motion. But that's kind of helpful too, because it shows the texture of the fur, which is so thick. It's amazing. All right, let's go back to the other view. Oops. I'm always turning off the wrong camera. There we go. And you can also, if you have a dog, especially a German Shepherd, it can be very helpful. I used to have German Shepherds back in the day, but the dogs I have right now are good for a few things, like looking at the paws. They're Boston Terriers. So I don't think that they'll really help that much with this. I'll just get this nice and melded together. I mean, I have some degree of almost like a fur texture started there, but I want to do it in a more deliberate way. It's just kind of haphazard the way I have it already. I want it a little more organized, I guess is the best word. Some of these anatomical parts are a little tough to get from these pictures. That's why I know this is a little harder of a project. The interesting thing about doing animal or human anatomy is you start to as you practice, you start to memorize. And Mark would be able to relate to this, doing a lot of birds. As you do a lot of birds, you start to memorize feather patterns and how the different parts of the wing flow over top of the other parts. And that's something that comes with practice. You still don't want to guess, but it gets so much easier with practice. And I'll just keep doing this till I have it relatively smooth. Then I can check the proportions again. I know it sounds redundant, but I really don't want to have areas that I haven't thought about. I'm trying to think through how this all relates. And I'm looking at these pictures. See this one. Oops. Got two sides of this pose. So I'm trying to make sure I have this side. That's another helpful tip, is to be able to get that out there like that on both sides, so you can get a handle on what, it's almost like dyslexia with sculpture. You want to be able to not have to guess too much about, like when you're using one side or the other. Yes, it's the same picture reversed, but how helpful it is to be able to just use your picture to see the other side generally. Alexa, stop. I've got my Alexa alarm now. I think I'm going to use a different method soon. It's too loud. Oh, hey, Mark, thank you. That has the feeling of the original photo. I appreciate that so much. And now you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to go around and just make sure I'm smoothed out. And then I'm going to, oh, here's the other ball tool. Then I'm going to take these ball tools and using my pictures, I'm going to look at that fur direction and just create the fur direction. Heat it again, and then use my brush. Very similar to how we did the bobcat, which is sitting behind us there. So he's not even completely done, but we're getting the idea. And these are practice sculptures that just help us learn. I mean, I'm going to save this and finish it, but we'll definitely learn a lot here and then move on to my next surprise project, which I think will be fun. But I don't want to do that. See, now that's so hard. I can't even push that in. Thank you, Frank and Jackie. Let me go to the other view. And I know I'm always like, I want to keep going now. Thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow, because I have to go away on Friday. Tuesday, I might have to do it instead of Monday also, but I'll put that in the posts. But definitely, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.